right. So with me today, oh, you're being recorded. That's new. That freaks me out every time now.
It does.
I have Chris Baden. He's amazing. And what's interesting about Chris and this beautiful relationship, I don't know what side you're on today, but what's amazing is that have you ever been to like a Zoom meeting or like a group thing where you didn't know everyone intimately and you just see someone and you're like, you're amazing. Let's be best friends. You just get it. That's Chris and me. I
Yes, this is
literally,
true. This is true.
true. Literally met him like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, "You're cool. Let's hang out." And he was like, "Okay," and then we did,
Yeah.
and that's amazing. And like we got to share bits and pieces about like what we do professionally, but you will see that he's hilarious, he's adorable, and he is amazing. So let's elaborate on that. So I'm going to start real easy for you. And he was not prepared. I did not share the questions ahead of time. So this is all inspiring.
Yes.
Let's start easy. Who are you? Some personal details.
Who am I? Who's Chris?
Who's Chris?
I'm a husband. I'm a father. I've got 3 kids under the age of 5, so a lot of activity going on. Brother, son, all those ones too. I played sports all growing up. So it was martial arts in the beginning when I was 5. I got my first degree black belt when I was 7, and my second degree when I was 8. And then I couldn't get my third degree till I was like 20, and then they changed it, and I got it when I was 16. And so I that was kind of like the first part, and played baseball, basketball. I did a season of volleyball because that was the only other sport and I could play at the time. I've probably played golf the most. So I played golf in high school and college. Got a D1 Division 1 golf scholarship. And another, probably more interesting for most people, is I competed on American Ninja Warrior for 3 seasons. So most people are like, "Oh, cool! If my kids watch the show," or they like to talk about that.
That's like your claim to fame.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah, I usually just kind of lead with that one because people are like, "Oh, cool," that's just it's more fun for everyone. So I don't know, probably should have led with that one here actually.
Maybe that's why we're so complimentary. You do the Ninja Warrior, and I drink beer on the couch and watch it and go, yeah,
There you go. That's cool what they do. Yeah, yeah.
you're doing great.
Yes,
That's
no, it's fine.
awesome.
Yeah, those are yeah, on the personal side. I love life, love activity, love trying new things and building stuff and making messes and yeah, something like that.
I said that today to someone. We were chatting about a mutual friend, and I was like, I just like hanging out with this person. They love life. You know what I mean? Like some people are just like, look at that. That's cool. I think it's a common quality we have. I love that. So moving on to the juicy stuff. What are you awesome at, like professionally? Like, what do people pay you to do because you're so good at it?
People that get in our ecosystem, so to speak, they just sales increase, they make more money. So yeah, and we do it in various different ways. The short reason it like we build the way that manifests or takes place, we build sales teams, we evaluate sales processes, we all things sales. I've been commission only, employing myself and other people the last 10 years of my life. Yeah, it turns out if you do something for a decade, you finally start to get a little better at it. And like it's not like I'm very open, transparent with somebody. I'm not a liquid millionaire, okay, but I've sold in terms of net worth, but I've sold multiple millions in the last 5 years. I've built 3 different companies that do at least $1 million or more per year. And so that was in insurance, that was in e-com, and that was in software. And so what people are usually I'm useful to other people in the way they're like, hey, how do you sell so much so fast? And the short answer is it's not me. I understand problems well. I understand markets well. I understand people's psychology well, and I understand how one transaction is created. And then something called transaction velocity. I just learned how to make that same thing happen faster and faster and faster. Particularly really well in the, seven-figure, multi-seven-figure range. We've helped and built, worked with companies that have done multiple 8 figures. I have not personally owned and operated a company that's done more than $10 million per year in sales yet. But in the next 3 years, you'll see that happen.
So what's the secret sauce? Like, how do you take a mediocre sales team to a ridiculously amazing, well-oiled machine? In a
Uh,
nutshell.
yeah. If I had to answer in less than a sentence, meaning a phrase, you do it based off principles, based off values that have already been time tested. So what are some of those principles that people could take and implement immediately right now? Treat other people the way you want to be treated. Approach people the way you want to be approached. When we're talking about sales, how do you want to be approached? How do you do this? Anyone listening, watching this, recall the last transaction that you made. And if it was Starbucks, maybe you really love that transaction and buying, you just get so excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get the frappa. Sorry, I don't know all the Starbucks drinks. I'm so boring. Like, yeah, but like, what'd you say?
You said the Frappajat.
Frappa, chappa. I don't know what the cappuccino. That's, I think, what was in my mind that didn't come out. One of
You're
the,
doing great.
with the whipped cream and the sprinkles, or the, I'm totally like, if I ever drink coffee, I'm just gonna drink black coffee.
Gotcha.
If I'm like, yeah, totally that direct guy. Anyway, that all said, if it happens to be Starbucks, let's go to your last transaction that was $1,000 or more, or $5,000 or more, or $10,000 or more, $20,000 or more. What was that buying experience like? Why did you do it? For a lot of us, oh, actually, let's hang here for a second, Jade. I saw you just think about it. What
Yeah.
was your last big transaction?
Um, and actually, I'm thinking of a transaction that I didn't do. Like, I recently
Ooh,
almost bought a very expensive coaching program, and
ah,
it didn't feel right at the end, and I didn't do it.
okay, so it didn't feel right.
Hmm.
What's the last transaction that you had that you just remember like loving it? It was a fun, really good experience. First, it could. What's that?
Probably buying my car.
Buying your car. What car
Mhm.
did you get?
I got a minivan. I had to transition after I had
Yeah.
twins into the, you know,
Minivan. I love it. Did you go the Sienna route? Did you go
town
the
and
Chrysler
country,
route?
town and country. Hmm.
Town and Country. Is that before the Pacifica? Is it called the Pacifica now?
I don't know. I bought a really old one, but I really liked the man that I talked to.
I love it. Okay. So let's hang here for a second. Okay, because before everyone's like, oh, they just talked about minivans on this episode. No, hang with us. Like, don't miss this. There's a really important part of this, because you asked about like, well, how do you do it? This is what I help people do. I help people remember that we actually all love to be buyers, but when we flip into sellers, we get all screwed up in our head and we totally wreck the experience for people. And you know
Hmm.
what they do? They don't buy.
Yeah.
Okay. So an exercise that I bring people through with our high ticket clients is exactly what we're doing right now.
Hmm.
We go through this process of remembering the emotions and the experience that we like to feel. And what we do is we bring those things and we put them into our sales process. And then we start to enjoy our sales process even more. Like, we can't wait to get on a sales call. And guess what? The people on the other end are like, this is the best sales call I've ever. They don't even think it's a sales call. And
Yeah.
then they give you their money, and they're thanking you. And then they're sending you more people. And now you're working you're not even working as hard for the sales anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is freaking so much fun. Yes, it should be. That's what it should be. And when you start to get into that zone, it's something that I like to call conviction selling.
Mm.
Conviction selling is that natural, there's no resistance, there's no hesitation for the buyer or the seller
Hmm.
throughout the process.
Hmm.
So you bought the town and country because it's an older minivan. We got a minivan as well. Represent. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just so comfortable. They handle great. I mean, I don't understand why more people don't drive minivans. Tell me about the person that sold it to you.
Um, I've always previously bought cars from big dealerships, high pressure sales environment, felt very pressured. So this time I deliberately picked like a very small town, like doesn't even really do sales. He just does like side stuff on vans. And on his website, there was like, you could see like a toddler in the parking lot of his like, super small town corner, cracks in the concrete parking lot. And I was like, I'm going to call this guy. So I went over there and like, sure enough, there was a toddler running around. I'm like, so my kids were distracted playing with his kids. And I was like, I don't need anything fancy. I just need to fit my gaggle of children into a car. And he was like, boom, 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 boom. Made me feel very comfortable. I could tell he knew what I was talking about because he had a small child. So that was very comforting.
So if any coaches, consultants, agency owners, selling to yourself, helping your former self is a great market to start with. If you're wondering, if you go through this, there's so many good takeaways of what you just said, right? The question that we're playing with is, hey, Chris, how do you help people sell more stuff? I'm giving a couple very practical, immediate things that practices and questions that people can ask themselves to get the emotion and the strategy and that they need to go put into their business. And so one is recall your last buying experience that you really enjoyed and ask yourself why you enjoyed it and why you bought. And those feelings and experiences are the things that you need to recreate and share in your current sales process. And so you're saying, hey, I could relate with him.
Mm-hmm.
There's that common ground and rapport
Mm-hmm.
because I could believe and trust him because he had kids like I had kids. I knew he would hear me about, I just need my gaggle of kids to fit in a vehicle. What's the right option? He's like, hey, here's what you're looking at. And he eventually got you to the right price point, the right vehicle. And for, all the, marketing fans and Russell fans, the vehicle internal, external journey, right? If we're going to pull more frameworks, it literally is a vehicle in this case
Yeah.
that will get you to your destination.
Yeah.
But these are parts that we often skip over or are blinded to because mentally and emotionally we're overwhelmed and stressed and worried that we're not going to be able to sell enough. We're not going to be able to make payroll. We're going to let somebody down. We're going to get found out. We actually don't know what we're doing and it's going to all fall apart. Or all the other self-doubts and fears that any leader, not just entrepreneurs, let's go to musicians, let's go to film directors, let's go to athletes, let's go to anyone that has to perform and lead. Goodness, you can't hide from anything in those type of journeys. And so
Yeah.
I'm throwing a lot of thought out there. How's some of this sitting with you, Jade?
Like I'm loving all of it. But you bring a good point up. Like there's so many different like niches that this is applicable. It's these are you're giving out pearls here. This is not like sales lessons. This is like life lessons and love lessons.
Life and love.
Life and love. Life and love. So my next question to you is, I'm pretty sure, obviously I haven't known you for very long, but I'm pretty sure you didn't like graduate high school and go, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to help a ton of businesses make a ton of money and make some money too. Sales is my bag. So like what was the breaking point where you were working for other people and you were like, mm-mm.
I have a couple fun stories for you.
I love it. Do it.
The first and only job that I've ever had in my life was right out of college. Like I graduate a Friday and I'm working Monday. Was at the church that I was going to, and I was the audio video director.
Love it.
And yeah, so I'd write, film, and produce short videos that went along with the sermons, or I'd cover the outreach event that was just done. And I wanted to pursue production. on storytelling via video specifically. And I was like, okay, well, I need to get paid to do this. So I got paid $15 an hour, 15, just to be clear,
Yeah.
bucks an hour. And then I was doing freelancing at nights and weekends and working all the times that I wasn't working. And because it's just being aggressive, it's just how my brain thinks. I just want to learn really quickly. Here's why I'm sharing this story. This is the one job I had. And I found out that you could sell videos on these other like Christian based sites, you know, for great Christian content and sell it to Christian churches and people and stuff, right? So I was like, great. So Sermon Spice and Worship House Media, I found these other sites, and I go to the lead pastor at the time, and I said, hey, check this out. Like, I'm making some of these things, and here's my plan of how I can completely fund this department. And he's like, well, I can give you an allowance, or like, it just didn't quite process. And what I realized is I was like, oh, not everyone thinks the way I think. See, what I didn't, and that was 12, 13 years ago. I didn't understand that I am an entrepreneur until probably like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, how do you go from knowing you're an entrepreneur but not knowing? I'm confused because that's an incredible story. So what's part two?
So I was only there a year, and I was like, I'm not gonna, like, my brain, I don't know, it just thinks too big, or it grows too, I don't know how to the best way to articulate
I'm
it.
pretty sure everyone watching this is gonna get it because we're all like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it turns out
We
I'm
get
not
it.
alone, and I
Yeah.
have found my people, which is Jade and all the other networks and masterminds
We're
I've got.
everywhere.
Yes. And so what's the gap is your question.
Yeah.
So the next place that I found myself in was selling merchant services. So I was a W-2 employee, but I was commission only. And that's credit card processing. So we go to a restaurant, we have a hamburger, we got to pay for it with our credit card. I was the guy that set up the hardware and software, but more importantly, negotiated the rates on the credit card processing agreements. And so I knew nothing. I'm 20, nothing. I know nothing about business. And I'm like, hey, Mr. Business Owner, here's why you should entrust me to process millions of your dollars and hope that I don't screw it up. I might save you a few bucks. What do you say? Obviously, I refined the pitch and got a little bit better at it. I watched over 40 people come and go in a short period of time. I felt like I was going to
You mean your
vomit.
fellow salespeople? Over
Yeah,
40 like fellow.
yeah, it's commission only. It was very cutthroat. Not in terms of like, some people did some really stupid, shady stuff. That's unfortunate. That's self-preservation is a very over. It takes over and clouds judgment. I'm human. I'm no better. But in that environment, and what has served me well is don't cut corners and treat other people the way you want to be treated, no matter the money, no matter the pressure. That has allowed me to employ myself and other people the last 10 years of my life, and it is very hard. There are temptations, but what road? What are you building? Are you building on sand? Or are you building on a rock? And so there's these, again, principles have helped me survive. And so in this environment, I learned a really important lesson. It was in my second month. The first 8 months, I felt like I was going to vomit every single day. I didn't know if I was going to have a job, if I was going to be fired, if I was going to have enough money. I'm getting married. I'm starting a family. I'm like, oh, this sucks, right? The first full year of commission only, my tax return said $26,000 and change. That doesn't go very far. My goal was to make $100,000. My second year, it was $44,000 and change on my tax return. My third year, and I'll never forget that day. I was just about to walk into our small condo, and I open up my tax return. My mind's going 100 miles an hour, and I look at it and I stop. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's at $107,000 and change. And I was like, my first thought was like, I can't believe it happened. The second thought was, why the hell did I pick 100 grand? Like, if you just pick a number and go hit it, why didn't I pick $250,000?
Right. Yeah.
True story. I was kind of
I feel
pissed. I was like, what
breaking
the
the six figures is like a big deal for entrepreneurs. Yeah.
So I was 27. when I did that. And but in that 3-year journey, my second month, that's when things switched for me, because I'm working 70 plus hours a week, which is what I've been doing since college, and I'm just
Whew.
used to that cadence. I wake up early, I go to bed late, and I'm going majority of the time. And I told my wife before we got married, I was like, listen, I'm crazy and I'm probably not going to slow down. Are you okay with this? And she ultimately was, closed the deal. We've been married 7 years. And
Like how you can even call that closing the deal.
hey, it's all sales.
You
It's
must
all
be really good.
sales is the #1 life skill on planet Earth. You spend more time crafting this skill, you spend more time and money focus on this skill, it'll improve. I don't, if you're a doctor, your bedside manner is going to improve. If you're a lawyer, you're going to be more persuasive. If you're in business, you'll make more money. But listen, like sales is, I'm all over the place here. Hopefully this is good for somebody listening to this. Sales is this. It's the skill and ability to listen, practice empathy, and creatively solve problems. Those 3 things. That's, in my opinion, my experience, that's what sales is. I don't fit the sales profile. You know, I don't fit the like rock star salesperson and persona. I've built the skill over 10 years, and I did it unfortunately in the beginning out of the fear of not being able to eat. And I didn't know there was another way. And I have that competitive thing in me. I've been, sports, it's like I've lived in performance worlds my whole life. And so when I feel like I'm failing and losing, I don't have quit in my blood. I hate this job, but I'm not leaving until I win. And that fired off in me. And so 3 years later, I have a portfolio of over 200 businesses, and I actually still have, and I got vested. So I still have, every business that runs a transaction, I make a insanely small percentage off all that. I still have equity in that portfolio today. I haven't worked there in over 7 years, and it still pays me monthly.
I love that. Oh, you're like,
That was,
when I keep giving you snaps, I'm loving this build out. This is like a movie.
I took that job because my mission was to go meet other business owners, and I got to look at their finances because we're talking about volume and credit card processing. What I was doing was hunting for the business that I wanted to build. But I got paid commission only, and I got paid to build a portfolio to go do that research. After I did that, then I got to start, I could sell some of that monthly residual back for 30 times value, 32 times value. So that helped generate some cash to put into some of my next businesses to keep, and the story continues, and I started, there's just so many different ways to make a dollar. So I built an insurance company, I built an e-com company, and I built a software company. And those are the 3 different, industries that I've played in.
Wow. That's amazing. That was
It's
such
been,
a good story. I'm like, I don't want to
it's been a
stop.
ride. It's been a ride.
That's amazing. I love like you have that like I'm not stopping. And I think like there's a lot of like dreamers out there, but some people do it and then they give up and some people don't. You know what I mean?
Listen, anyone that identifies with what you just said, and maybe there's someone listening that has quit. You know, I've been kicked in the teeth more times than I care to admit. It's not an easy path. It's very humbling, and for all those reasons, I absolutely hate it. But also for those same reasons, I love it, and I wouldn't do anything else, because it's a path that you can hide from nothing, and that's really annoying. It's really annoying that you can't hide from your own doubts and your own insecurities. But I again, what's the alternative? Comfort? Like like going backwards or being stagnant? I don't understand that life. And so because I want to be in a place where I can hide from nothing. I can't hide from myself. I can't hide from my marriage. I can't hide from my family. When my kids, look at me, I have to look them in their eyes day after day. Owning that type of living a life with a higher accountability, I think is a powerful life. Life is short. Life is a gift. So, hey, all that energy in life was first given to us. The question is, how are we going to live it? How are we going to use it?
Yeah. Oh, remember earlier when I was like, I like this guy because I think he likes life too. Like, yeah, you just confirmed.
I'm grateful to be breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like every day someone's like, how's your day? I'm like, best day ever. I woke up. It was a great start.
It's a great start. Is to
Yeah.
have one.
Yeah. So this is all a really good segue to my next question, which is, what would you tell yourself then that you know now? So let's just say 10 years ago, scared, not making enough money to eat, wanting to live up to your dreams, but not there yet. What would you tell yourself?
Yeah, a few phrases. I'd say it's going to be okay. You're you're going to
I
make it.
wasn't expecting that. That was a good one. It's going to be okay.
Thanks. Yeah, it's going to be okay. It'll be hard. You'll be frustrated at times, but you'll make it. It'll be okay. And I'd also say, and then from a more strategic standpoint, like I break life into 5 categories: physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. So from a that's more of like an emotional standpoint. From a mental, aka a strategic standpoint, I'd say pick a good freaking business model, man. Like don't pick man, there's so many different ways to make a dollar, and I pick certain business models and I poured my heart and soul into them. And at the end of the day, it's going to equal me making 60, 70, 80, 100, $150,000 per year. And there's ways you can make $250,000 in a year and not work as much, frankly. And so there's that element of understanding um, more how money works and how to work with other people and build teams and systems and how to serve markets, and how to and that's the life experience of just doing more business. So what's a good model that someone could take listening to here? A really popular one right now that's a very efficient model is a mastermind group model. It's very popular in the marketplace right now. Selling your expertise or wisdom with the experiences, knowledge that you have and you want to share with more people. They'll pay you anywhere between $1,000 to $25,000 per year, and you can do a 8-week or a 12-week mastermind. You meet once a week on Zoom in a group setting. It's a very good model. It's a very if you're I mean, okay, if you do an 8-week, it's 2 months, and if you only signed up 10 people at $1,000, it's $10,000. You're making $5,000 a month. If you sell it, for $2,000 and you only get 10 people, right? That's 20 grand. That's $10,000 a month. And every 2 months, you could just have 10 more people come in. And so that could be a very practical, tangible, leveraged in terms of time model where you're making at least 5 figures a month, sharing knowledge and obviously implementing and bringing that all to market. There's a lot of art and science to it, but it's very possible. Will feel scary and uncomfortable for some, but that's one model.
Yeah. Or memberships, recurring predictable income.
Yeah,
There's so many
continuity
different
is great.
models. I'm a big Stu McLaren fan.
There we go. Let's go to tribes for a
Yeah.
second. Jade.
The god of all things memberships, Mr.
Yes.
Stu McLaren.
Yeah. Go hang out in his sandbox for a second. He has some great things, and those are great models to start. And as my to share kind of like a fun model that I'm really excited about right now
Tell me.
is thinking about a business sells a product or service.
Mhm.
There's also a market of selling businesses.
Mhm.
So if you sell a product or service that generates, X amount of cash, there's people that will pay millions of dollars for a business that generates cash.
You sound like Richard Gere in Pretty Woman. You know, he's like, I buy businesses and then I sell off the pieces.
That's really funny. That's a great reference that I haven't heard in a long time. It's fantastic.
I'm here all day.
And there's certain types of businesses that have they're like, if you're the face and you're the coach, doing the thing, that's a 1 times multiple. In other words, if you sell your coaching business to somebody else, but it's your business and your face, and now you're no longer there, you're going to lose a lot of sales, right? But in like sale, if you're building and selling a software company or an e-com company where it's just running, or you build a membership site that can run, the point is this: you can start getting a 3 or 5 or 10 times multiple. This is models. If I had to go talk to my 20-year-old self,
Yeah.
I'd say specifically what I would say is go into software. And I know nothing about code, but I accidentally built and sold a software company about a year ago, and I sold it horribly. I didn't even we made a few bucks on it, but I didn't understand multiples. So let me make this even simpler. Let's say that your software company does $1 million per year. I'm geeking out here. I know I'm going a little deep, but I'll put on give us some floaties and we'll come back up to the top.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said land of geeks. You're doing great.
Let's say we have a software company that does $1 million a year in sales. If it has a 5 times multiple, we could sell that company for $5 million. If it has a 10 times multiple, we could sell for 10 million bucks, right?
And what do you mean by multiple? Like how many pieces you could break it off in, like Richard Gere?
Not as much Richard Gere. Great question. What I mean by multiple is, hey, your business generates $1 million per year. A multiple is, hey, I will times your annual revenue by a multiple of 3, by a multiple of 5. It's basically how you do a business evaluation or measure how much you would buy that company for. And you can evaluate and business evaluation is a whole other sandbox.
Whole industry,
based on revenue. You could do it based on revenue. You could do it based on EBITDA, but without going into too much detail, the simple thought evolves. You sell $100 thing, you sell $1,000 thing, you sell $100,000 thing, you sell a $10 million thing. The thought has continued to grow over the last 10 years. So now it's currently my mission to build a company that someone would actually pay $50 million for. It's a big, scary thought for me. I've never done that before.
But you just said that out loud. So
I'll be doing this in 3 years or less.
Poof, poof, poof. It's in the air. I love that so much.
Yep. So I thought, strategy in motion.
Right.
Well, I'll get
to. It doesn't just happen,
No. This is a lot of conversation. This is a lot of failing. This is a lot of embarrassment. This is a lot. It's all those things. But having the right strategy and having the right model. Because I thought, I'm like, man, I sell my time for money. Okay, I could build good systems or build continuity so I get some of my time back, but I'm still making X amount of dollars. It's like, okay, well, how do I collapse time more?
Are you staring at like a whiteboard, like in your brain? You're like, okay, well, I'm making.
I totally am. But ironically, I do have a 4 foot by 8 foot whiteboard right in front of me also, though. So this is like my safe place where I can like dump, just process the craziness in my brain. Can you imagine what it would be like to be Elon Musk?
No.
I don't want to be him at all, but I can only imagine how fast his brain goes and how much that hurts.
Well, I think like this is why I'm enjoying your company so much, and it's why I'm sure when I broadcast this that so many other people are going to enjoy it. It's like some people like that comfort zone and they want to do the same thing all the time, but like when stimulated minds get stimulated by other stimulated minds, and it like turns into this like literally electric
stimulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
It turns into this like huge like current. And I was telling you before we hit record, like my favorite thing is talking to really cool, smart people who are smarter than me. And like every time I take a little piece of that and it makes me better. And it's not like I'm smart and I'm the best at this. It's like we are amazing together. And like you are so good at what you do. And it's not even close to anything I'm even capable of doing. But like like the intersection of these like amazing people, like it's, I see it every day. And it's like, I'm excited talking about like being in Facebook groups with some of these like super smart people, and it's the best part of my life
That's
professionally.
awesome. Professionally.
Yeah.
Yes, professionally. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
I'm totally the same way. And so thank you for, like it's awesome hanging out with you and others that think this way and have the conversation. So it's awesome.
Yes, yeah. This conversation in the show is about people who think like this, and we're just like bam, 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 all cylinders firing. It's really, really awesome. So
Yeah.
normally at this point in interview, I would ask for like a final like tip or hack or piece of advice. But if it's okay with you, I think it would be really cool if you were to share just like a you gave me a demo, and we don't have time for that, but just like tell us a little bit about like your cool new thing that other people watching who run businesses and have sales pipelines might be able
Oh,
to
yeah.
use.
Yeah. So the next tool that they're working on, it's a premium CRM for direct messaging. And so Facebook profile specifically, Instagram chat, and LinkedIn chat.
Yeah.
We put that all into one place. But it also, a huge piece of this is it's scraping leads. So the problem that we're solving is outcomes that we create are, hey, it's booked calls on your calendar, right? No empty space on your calendar, 20 plus qualified calls per week. It's all organic. We can generate and build lead lists of qualified quality people by the thousands, by 10,000. You could have like 10,000 before the end of today if you wanted. Which is insane for people. If you're not going fast enough or you're kind of stuck, it would be worth a conversation, because that's the problem we solve. We pull all the ideal people that people need to connect with, and then we have just a really systematic way, hence the CRM, of messaging these people. It's not more. All we're doing is just talking to people via direct message.
Yeah.
But when you are talking to 100, that alone 500 or 1,000 or 5,000 people, it gets a little messy. And so we have a really clean way of doing it. In fact, we, really, it's our team. Our team. I've been blessed to be around great people. I'd only accomplish literally a fraction of anything I've accomplished if it was only me. And so our EAs and VAs are running our conversations, really, really well. And our partners, business partners, Bruno, our developer, and Sean and Mel, have been working with them the last 5 years. There's no way I would have been able to build anything close to as cool without them. And to accomplish something greater than yourself, it takes more than yourself.
Oh, yes. So true, so true. My two takeaways when you showed me that, I got a demo. And
Yes.
my two takeaways were, it's if you know me at all, you know I love Trello and I like to use it for like left to right Kanban pipeline tracking.
Yep.
And it's literally that, but with actual conversations. And that leads me to my second takeaway, which was when you were like introducing it to me, you were like, and then we realized, hey, what if we just talk to people? You know,
Crazy idea.
not an email blast, but sparking real conversations. And it's not like an automated, send out spammy. Like I'm not a big fan of like
We're not
LinkedIn
spam, we're not a
messages.
bot.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
it's
We're
not a
high
bot.
connection, we're high quality. It's that ethos of treat other people the way you want to be treated and approach them the way you want to be treated, or
Right.
want to be approached. That solves like 97% of the problems.
Yeah.
And people respond to that. And while they're like, man, I don't know why I decided to say yes to yours. I say no to all of these. That's a very common response that we get with our messaging sequences. And I actually started recording them. And when they said them on the calls, I was like, right after, I was like, hey, can I use that for marketing? And they're like, yes, like, please share it with more people. I was like, okay, thank. And it's all recorded. So I got approval on recording. um,
Yeah.
but the exciting part is, hey, for your business and anyone listening, watching, this is a real thing, because finding new business, and not just any business. We don't just want to take a credit card. We want the right people. We want people that we actually like and we actually want to work with.
Hmm.
If you don't do that, you're going to start hating your business, and then like, it's not, then you start hating and resenting the money, and then you start losing sales, and then you're putting yourself and your family in a bad spot. It's almost like we're actors and we have to select the right roles strategically in our career in order to accelerate our career. And being an entrepreneur, it's finding the people that win, go fast, and make it look easier than it feels a lot of times are the ones that have a really good upfront qualifying process. And it's hard to qualify somebody through a funnel. It's hard to qualify somebody through an email sequence. And you and I, when's the last time we bought something meaningful from a bot? Yet we think we're just going to run some automated thing and get the result we want, when none of us buy that way. Oh, come
Yeah.
on. That's like, I am a seller and I got to automate this thing that I don't want to do. It's like, hey, no. Roll up your sleeves. Let's just talk to people, qualify them up front. And what happens is we're connected to our market. I know what my market's thinking. I know what they're feeling. I know when I can help them, and I know when I can't, and I know how much time it takes. And they love when I can just speak all that out. They're like, "Duh, let's roll." So
Yeah.
easy,
And
right?
like, obviously I have a passion for automation, and like, I don't think you're having, like, this is not like a naysay against automation at all. Like, it's automation allows you to be your best you at like a larger scale at different points in this process. But like, what you're talking about is like having real conversations to get the right butts in the seats.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I would die without systems and efficiency, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Like stuff that, and specifically on the yes. Specifically, like what you're saying in the systems and automation, we love Zapier.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, in automate and building some of those things.
Hmm.
And so the clarification, I'm talking about building relationship and rapport.
Mm-hmm.
We have efficient ways of doing that, but man, the Facebook profile, people are spending on average over 5 hours per day on their phone, and they're logging on average 12 times per day just on Facebook alone. That's why when we send an email and we only get 10 or 20% open rate, but when we send a message and we get like a 90% open rate, and we get like almost 100% I read the thing rate, and to take action, like, it's listen, go to where the attention is, and learn the psychology of the platform and how to communicate and connect with people in a way that you also like being communicated to. And it becomes so easy. We had, Jay, just for some numbers, and I know you know some of this, we had no email list. And we love funnels. We love paid ads, challenges. We're not saying don't do those things. Those are great and bring you business. What I'm saying is, don't ignore this, because we had no email list, we had no funnels, no webinars, um, no summit, no challenge. We had a Google Doc, and we just opened a Facebook group, and we just started talking to people and reaching out. And by the time we had 25 to 30 people in our Facebook group, we had already written over $100,000 in business. This took place just over a month. People don't realize how close they are. It's right in front of them. It always comes back to connecting with people and serving people, period. And we have a way of finding those ideal people,
Yeah.
importing all of them into one place, and just starting a conversation. And that's where it starts. It
Wow.
just starts with a conversation.
That's incredible. That's like
Yeah.
amazing. So again, you're just like you keep teeing up everything that's next and you don't even know. So the kind of
People have no idea what's coming. That said, they have no idea what's coming this year. Like the stuff that I've seen, Jade, I've got to keep it inside. Are you kidding me?
Oh my
People are
God.
gonna
Okay. Well, we'll have a
freaking
part
lose their
two.
mind. Yes.
Yeah. Everyone's like, when is it coming? When is he coming back again?
We have updates coming out almost weekly at this point. Like
Oh my gosh.
we're all of our time and focus are completely in this space. We've hit a nerve. We don't have a name for this tool yet. We have over 80 active users already.
Sorry, I was thinking
Like
of your
paid.
lamb.
What's that?
I
The
was thinking
sales
of
lamb.
your lamb.
We'll see if Sam the sales lamb
Yeah.
takes on a life of his own. We'll see how that goes. I was testing some ideas for as a branding exercise, believe it or not. That
That's my
one didn't make the cut, but
It
we
didn't?
might make some segments. So it's still fair game for marketing. So
Okay, fine. Well, count me out of the founding members launch.
that's oh no, you're still there. You are a part you're like the ingredient of the founders. Like you saw the beginning process. Like so you'll know more than most people.
And before that, I saw the lamb costume. So I mean, like, let's just call me a winner.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that. So
This
the
was
final
fun.
question is another easy one. How do people reach you if they want a demo of this software, if they want to improve their sales processes? How do they reach you?
Yeah, easy. Facebook. Just send me a message on Facebook. It's my exact
Very
ID
on brand.
is hey,
Yeah.
eat your own cooking, right?
Right.
Chris.Baden.55 is like my exact Facebook URL. I live in Henderson, Nevada. It's my profile right now, depending on when someone sees it, I guess, is a picture of my wife and I. And if it's easier, if you can't find me there, just Chris, CHRIS, at salesascenders.com. Ascenders is ASCENDERS. So Chris at salesascenders.com.
Perfect. And I'll tag you in like promos and put how to contact you on,
Thank you.
on the blog post. So yeah, this has been so, I mean, I knew it was going to be amazing, but it was like even more amazing because you're amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. In some other groups I'm in, I go live a lot and we have a drinking game where every time I say the word amazing and everyone, and they're like, we're getting a little tipsy, but you're amazing. I had to say it one more time. Thank you so
Drink.
much.
Yeah, thanks.